What up, everybody? What up, everybody? Happy Easter weekend to you, and welcome to another episode of Phil John's V.I.P. here again on a Saturday night. Thank you for joining me as always. I hope everyone is gearing up for a wonderful Easter Sunday. And I am glad to be here tonight with you all as always. I've been thinking a lot about, Phil John's VIP, and I know it's been like a year since I started this whole video vlog podcast kind of thing. And I'm I'm happy with the outcome. I'm happy that people have actually tuned in and watched the replay. But I'm also, I think I have to shed light on a lot of the guests that I have come on, right? And what made me think about this is because I recently saw the announcement of my longtime friend and colleague, Stephen Hill, being an original cast, is going to be an original cast member of the remake of The Color Purple. And I'm always super excited when I see people really kind of like their dreams coming into fruition. And I thought to myself, wow, everybody has their own path. Thank you, Black Root. What's up, bro? Paul, thank you for chiming in really quick. I'm just sharing a quick thought before my guest comes on. But everyone has their own path, right? Like everyone has their journey. And I really started this thing because I wanted to applaud and celebrate everybody who has been in this industry for a long time, whether they're an actor or a writer or a director or a producer. We've all kind of started in the same place, There's this moment of community that we all have before people begin to kind of break off and kind of really be the CEOs of their own business. And when that happens, sometimes you don't get together as much as you want to. You can't, call each other and ask each other to do little things like reading or possibly, even having coffee with someone. Those things usually you're unable to do once a person's career is taken off. And if you kind of look at it in a way that everybody's career is they're like the sole proprietors of their own business, right? So you can't really get upset if somebody is about their business and working on their business. It's kind of like what we all technically signed up for. And I was watching some old clips of Meryl Streep. I'm gonna try to get this quick before I don't want my guest to come in and I'm not prepared. But I was watching some old clips of Meryl Streep, and I began to see her. I was listening to her speak about just the craft and the art of the study, and I tend to always lean toward getting information from or kind of getting the information I need as an artist from people who have actually studied the craft, the art of the study. I think that as an actor or as an actor, you should be able to do everything. I'm not saying you got to be good at everything, but I think that you should be able to at least do a little bit of something, whether it's television, film, theater, the different genres in theater, experimental theater, classical theater, contemporary theater. You have to at least know how to read, voiceovers, commercials, know the difference between all of those things and be able to at least do them or be familiar with them, and then whichever one kind of takes off, you're able to do it. Again, I'm not saying that you have to do it well. I'm not that great at teleprompter. I hate teleprompter. But if I have to do it, I know that I have to do it, and I have the capabilities of doing it. but I'm not really that great at it. Improv is another one. So basically, what I'm saying is that there are those people that study all of this stuff, right? This is what we do. We're always trying to collaborate, figure things out, develop new content, develop new works. And those are the people who I feel, a lot of those people will tell you, you know what, I just got lucky, right? But the luck is the success, the commercial success they receive. What they do as artists will always continue, whether you see them on television or not, whether their name in lights on Broadway or not. As actors, we get off of the creativity and birthing and shaping, and it's almost like a person who does like a clay sculpting. You know, you get off the process of what it takes to make whatever it is that is in your mind to manifest and make, right? So for me, it's the same thing, you know. So if it's all about the collaboration in the community, you know. So I'm saying this to say that's the difference between those who are just looking to win, as opposed to those who kind of see themselves as just getting lucky and winning, when in reality all we're doing is developing and creating and seeing what comes out of it. Those who want to win don't necessarily have to win in show business. They can win anywhere they want to win, but they just chose to win in show business, but not necessarily respecting the art of the study and the art of the craft, if that makes sense to you. And I just found that to be very interesting, because so many people I know, we love what we do so much that a lot of times we're doing it for little to no money. A lot of times, things that you see on television that repeats itself over and over and over again, it's there for you to enjoy, is for your consumption and to enjoy it, but the payoff is not really what keeps us coming back. It's the love of it. And I think that's the most beautiful thing in the world. Wait, I know I talk too much. My guest has arrived, so I can continue. But just hold that thought for a minute, you know. And that's why I'm able to cheer the people that you see that come on my show on. I'm able to call their names and celebrate them, because we all have been in this journey and in this process together. And when you see somebody like Grace Byers or Stephen Hill or Jeanette Branch or, oh my God, just so many, when you see them, you are so happy for them, because you understand that that is a journey, that is a process. It didn't come overnight. It may seem overnight to the general public because you're seeing them for the first time, but it takes a lot of work. And I am so grateful to be traveling this journey along with you. Now, on to my guest. Tonight, I have Mr. Jerry Diaz. Jerry Diaz is one of the well-known comedians in New York City. He's part of the comedy sketch troupe Room 28. But Jerry has always been someone who I consider to be someone who stand out. Has many characters that he's played. He's now having a podcast. He speaks very highly about his daughter. He has been in film festivals of television and film nationwide. This brother has a way of bringing that old school kind of, and when I say old school, I'm talking about that Carol Burnett, Tim Conway kind of thing that we used to love and enjoy back in the day. He has just this innate ability to bring it up, add a little hip hop to it, pull it out, and just give it to us. And I'm telling you, I am so excited to have him on, because I can't wait to introduce to those who do not know Mr. Jerry Diaz, aka Elmo the Forca. So let's bring him on right now. Here we go. I talked too much tonight. I know I did, but I had it on my mind earlier. All right, Jerry, where you at? Where you at? Where you at? Where you at? There you go.
Yo,
There you go.
that's one of the best intros I've ever had in my life, my brother. Thank you
Yo,
so much.
yo, thank you. Thank you so
Wow.
much for joining me tonight, man.
Wow. No, I am honored to be here, my brother. Thank you for having me on. I was like, I'm running, I'm in traffic. I'm running. I'm like, I gotta be on this thing, right? Hurry
You
up,
know
get
what?
up
It's
quick.
so crazy. It was so crazy. Like I was sitting here, I was like, man, I really have this on my mind. I
Yeah.
want to say it. And then when you was late, I was like, well,
There you go. I apologize. I apologize. But
I'll just talk it through. You know.
yeah,
Thank you for joining me, brother.
of course.
And I told the people, I said, I think that you and I was talking about community before you got on, and I was saying how a lot of times what happens is that before the general public gets to see everyone, we've all kind of been in the trenches together, finding ways, the process, creative ways of trying to find out like what works, what doesn't, kind of like almost like a sculptor who sculpts bowls and vases, and you kind of try it out to see if it works, see if it sticks. And the process, I think we get off on not knowing, but we get off on the process of it. And before the general public gets a chance to see us, we've been in it together. Before Room 28 actually got a chance to be on NBC, you
Yeah.
guys have been going for a long time, you know. So what I want to start out by saying is, where did it all begin for you? You know,
Thank you again. I'm gonna say thank you for having me on. I'm more than honored to be here. So I, we've known each other for a long time. So I just wanted to get that out the way and say thank you. I'm honored to
pleasure,
be
brother.
one of the people you find me. Yeah. I'm gonna say it all started, and I have to say it all started, ironically enough, with family. You know, at the family gatherings and stuff like that, I was never a shy kid. So I would, they became my first audience, literally, and my guinea pigs. And so I knew I can, I always had the silly side to me, and actually entertaining side, because I could do everything. I would dance, I would, whatever was needed to make my grandmother happy and my uncles laugh and all of that other stuff. And they kind of became the parameter for that. And then, I have being related to Mr. Juan Bago, Mike Diaz.
Mike Diaz. Shout out
My
to Mike Diaz, man.
shout out to my
Diaz is
brother.
kind of like the brainchild
You understand what I'm
to keep
saying?
things
And he
going.
opened that, yeah, he opened that door for our family in a way. He kind of, he was the courageous one and said, "Hey, look, this could kind of be done." And then, and doing some things behind the scenes for him, then I realized, oh, maybe I can, that kind of works. And it was great to have him be that forefront in the beginning, which I know he never had. But that's the kind of character that he has. So yeah, no, ironically it started with family. I gave my mom an Oscar speech when I was 3 or 4 years old. I knew I wanted to do something in the business, and I knew I wanted to be in the business. Um, and yeah, and then it blossomed from there. I did, I think I did a play in like sixth grade or something, and it was a serious part, but I had like some serious points, and people were laughing and all this stuff, and I caught the bug, and I was like, oh, I think this is something that I can do. I think this is something that I've been blessed with. Maybe I should do it. And then you slowly go evolving and trying different things, and yeah, and then Room 28 came about, and we flew from there.
Tell me a little about Room 28. How did that come together? How was that? How was that idea? First of all, explain to the people exactly what room, the history of Room 28, and then how it came about as far as you guys naming that as a
Sure.
comedy troupe.
Room 28 is a collective of comics and writers and performers, sketch writers and performers, that we decided to put together. Like, we got together, we were a group of friends, and at the time, the sketch scene, and still the sketch scene, is very limited and very, it's very secluded, and you have to be know certain people and be accepted into certain circles. And being a hip hop kid and being a Afro Latino from New York, there was not a lot of parts and roles that they really saw for me in that way. And I knew I wanted to do everything, so I got together with a couple of my friends. We were a part of another troupe. Shout out to Lose Control. If you've been around, and it's a
Yes.
long time ago, Lose Control. Shout out to Chalisi. He started that, and we were part of that, and that's where kind of me and Jamie met. And of course, Boggle's already family. So, and we kind of went from there. And so we decided to, you know what, we're not going to wait for these opportunities to present themselves. you know, especially for me, those opportunities were never going to present themselves. You know, all acting gigs were like, you know, snitch number two on Law and Order, or the guy on the lineup, or the guy that tells you where, you know what I mean? It was just, it was never, there was never stuff of that, like, hey man, I could play somebody with a southern accent. I know you don't think of me in that way, but I could do it. And so instead of waiting for those opportunities, you know, we decided to create them, and open doors, and hopefully, like, especially in such a world that, and especially in such a world that we're not known for, or we're not looked at as having strengths in, and to be able to step into that and say, no, look, you know, and it doesn't have to be about abuelas and chancletas and chanclas and stuff. Like, yo, we could do regular, you know, we have situational stuff in every culture, you know. So, and also it was important to me, it was also important to be a representative of Latino comedy. And when I mean that is like, it's Latino second before it's comedy. Like, I want people to think, holy shit, that's funny regardless of what we are. It just happens that we're Latino. So that's
And
where that came
shout
about.
out to Jamie, man. That's another one who I think that is just a,
That's the talent, the most talented, one of the best comedy writers. You know, like, again, blessed to, and then we were both, you know, both young guys. And you know me, you've known me for a long time. I hadn't really worked with people in that aspect, in that way, till this collective. And again, I'm glad I did, because it's a family. And I work with anybody now. That's not the problem. But at the time, especially in that world, especially in the comedy world, especially in New York, like, you know, everything was really niched, and like, oh, you Latino, like, let's capitalize on that. And I'm like, I'd rather people find me funny, and then, oh, they're Latinos, cool, that's great, because that's how you're really gonna progress. If you box yourself in before you even presenting yourself to anybody, they're not gonna see it, you know. So again, that's why the room 28, you know, it's based on the mythology in Dominican Republic, La Casa 28, which is the loony bin, but we took it and transformed it. And then instead, and when people started asking, yo, what's room 28? I'm like, that's our name right there. Because people are asking what it is, you know? So that was it.
and if you know of the Room 28 in New York, you can understand why it's Room 28.
Right. Exactly.
Because you guys have the just the innate ability to always stay on. You know,
Appreciate that.
there's never it's like a switch goes on and it's just like you guys keep going. Like how does that happen? You know, I know for me, there's always has to be a I think that in real life I take myself way too seriously.
Sure.
But I think that you know, for you, that for me, there's always has to be a cutoff point. The energy that you guys bring is just so powerful. And shout out to Rachel La
Oh,
Loca. You know, that's she's just brilliant as well.
I
But
mean,
how
real quick, the whole crew,
yeah,
Rachel La Loca Muniz, Strauss, you got Andrew Casanova, you got Jamie Fernandez, you had McKenna Cox, you had Anthony Palmini. There was so many, you know, Bago, myself. I'm hoping I'm not forgetting it. And there's so many people that's the thing. Like, it wasn't just us. I'm mentioning these names, but there was so many other people that helped put that together. There's so many other people that are, you know, we've had, you know, Karina Ortiz was in our group, Ariana Rodriguez. There's so many talented people that have come through and helped us out, that, you know, it really is. Yeah, there's a core part players, but man, it really is a sense of community. And it really, like, and when you come to our shows, it's like, you're gonna get a unique experience, and whatever happens in that room is what the experience. That's room 28, and for us, that was always, especially for me, that was always like, you know, when we had our shows, it was like an hour and a half packed. So we're not on stage, you're seeing videos, you know, that kind of thing. And I took pride in I don't know. I took pride in the fact that, yeah, like, there was people wanted to know what we had to say about certain, like, certain comedy things. And also, when you're in it, you don't know, be stepping away and having everybody just be so speak so reverently about us, you know, like, hey, it also puts a little bit into perspective of like, man, you know, we were in the middle doing it. We didn't even think, hey, we're doing these other things, or opening these other doors, or maybe creating these other opportunities, or even setting examples. until we started like traveling a little bit and doing these shows where, you know, black and brown kids were coming up to me like, yo, how did you do this? Like, how are you doing this? And unfortunately, I didn't really, I wish I had like a formula, methodical question to say. And it's really just do it. Just do it. You know,
Yeah,
don't let nobody tell you you can't do it. You know,
yeah.
you have a, you find the stage. Everything could be stage if you try really hard. You know, you just make it happen.
I think the arts are so important in our communities. I think that I think the arts gives you options to a lot
Yes.
of things that people don't realize, that you don't necessarily have to be a person who's in front of the camera on stage, but
No,
you know, writers, directors, producers, um, uh, UPMs, ADs,
we've worked with so
gaffers,
many, yeah, we've worked with so
editors.
many people in different technical aspects,
Yeah.
right, that are doing amazing things now. But we've had people come in and be our ads, we've had people come in and be we had people come in and just film
Wait,
sketches with us.
I cast the tickets.
They, my man, like that's what I'm
I
saying,
remember the
like,
tickets.
you remember that?
I did the background. All the people that showed up.
That was you,
Matter of
yo.
fact,
I'm
no,
listen.
no. It's even deeper than that. Wait a minute, Mike. I was at the network. Mike came to the. I pulled Mike as a filmmaker in the network. He came to the network, and then he met the actors from the tickets. Remember, we had Armin Garo, who was
That's
a
right.
part
And
of.
the young, yes, okay,
Yeah,
yeah, I have a, that was a weird, I had a, if people go back, if you go back, I was a
I
Dominican cab
remember.
driver in that. You
I
remember that?
remember.
I had a nice Fu Manchu mustache and a weird,
Right.
it was wild. It was wild. Good times.
Yeah,
Those are always fun
Mike
projects.
just used me and dropped me off.
Yeah. Sounds like Mike. No,
You
no.
know what I'm saying? But no, it was. I remember it was a good time. But I always, you know, like Mike is a very interesting character. As like, he's not like, to me. I feel like to know him outside of what you see him is like night and day for me.
Yeah, yeah.
Because he's not really much. He's not always on all the time.
No,
But
no.
he's very attentive and he watches everything.
Yes.
Um,
It's
so
a dope person to have in your corner. You
yeah,
know, it's a dope person to like know in this business. I'm fortunate, you know, knowing him, or being related to him. You know, I looked out.
I know.
Yeah,
Yeah, man. I think, you know, he when he has a vision, he sets on that vision, and he just he's not going to stop until it manifests. Even if somebody tries to direct him in a different direction, he's not going to do it. He's pretty much
absolutely,
very
absolutely.
dedicated to whatever that vision is. So
Walks with
I give him
purpose,
props
man.
for that.
Everything with purpose. Yeah, everything with
Absolutely.
purpose. Yeah, yeah.
Because it is definitely needed for what you guys are trying to do. And I believe, this is what I believe. I believe that each one of you, and well, I shouldn't say each one of you, I'm just going to be specific. You, Jamie, and Rachel specifically.
Okay.
I think you guys, it's like a matter of time for you to hit your stride. I think that you're already there. It's just linking up with the right team.
Right.
In
I
my
appreciate that. I
It's
appreciate
just a
that,
matter
mother.
of linking up
Appreciate
with
that.
the right team, which takes time, you know, because like we love what we do because it's the business, but
Yeah.
we love what we do because the art of it, but then there's the business
There's a
side,
business side,
completely separate.
and you know, you, that's what those two intermix, right? So especially like, it's hard, especially in the city, being an artist, being an actor, doing these things. Sometimes you can get disenfranchised, you can get disappointed, you can actually, you can even feel like you're gonna quit in some, you know, at times. And that's because they correlate not getting a part with rejection. And there's so much more that goes into not getting a part. Like, you could probably be the best actor that came in and killed it. Like, that's your job. You just come in and do the best as you can at the audition. And after that, it's out of your hands because there's so many politics that goes into that. Casting directors, relatives of casting directors, the producer wants to put in so and so. You don't know, and sometimes, like, you know, we've been in, you got the part, and the day you're getting ready to film, yeah, so the director's nephew's in town and blah blah blah, whatever. And it is what it is, and you can't take it as a thing where it's like, oh man, like I sucked, you know,
Yeah,
especially when you're on this. So you have to learn how to separate those things at times, which is hard. It's a bit because you don't get the part. That's what you were fighting so hard for. So that's where the rejection comes in. So I feel like your job is to just go in there, do the audition, do as best as you can, and also then create opportunities for yourself so you can continue to work, you know, even if it's something that nobody's going to see, right? You know, just keep those muscles going, keep those things going, because it's like, you know, Kobe didn't win a championship and then he stopped shooting. Like, he was
Right.
still going to practice after that. And it's not until he put up those sneakers that he was like, all right, I'm going to keep practicing. I got to keep doing this. I got to keep these muscles going, you know? And we all take our breaks. We all take our hiatuses. We have to be human. But yeah, if you about this, like, there has to be a certain level of consistency and persistence on your own part. And also, like, you gotta be a little bit delusional. You gotta be a little bit like, hey, you're, you know, it's not about me not getting that part. It's about me setting myself up to put myself in a position for when my part comes, and I'll be there and I'll be ready, you know. Maybe this audition isn't the one that got me, but the people sitting in that room might have something else, and later on that
Right.
might be my part.
Right. I always say you go into an audition, you win the office, you win the casting director over.
That's it.
That's how you make fans.
That's it. Even
Yeah.
if it's not for that part, you know,
Yeah.
even if it's not for that project, just go in there and do your best, you know. And that's all. You know, again, there's days you're gonna come in and you're gonna suck, and it's gonna be terrible.
And
But
you can't you know what you can't count out your own peer group, because
absolutely,
you never know where someone is going to be. There's so many people I know now that are directors and producers who at one time were actors that it
working alongside us, man, working alongside us. There's some big people right now doing amazing things, doing amazing work behind the scenes, in front of the scenes, however you want to, wherever they are doing it.
I just
But these are
spoke
people that
of
were right here.
before you came on. I just spoke of Stephen Hill. Stephen Hill just got he's set to star in the remake of The Color Purple. He's actually on Magnum PI right now. And Stephen, if anybody knows Stephen Hill, if you don't know him, IMDb Stephen Hill, you'll know him when you see him. Stephen has always been one of the most gracious actors in New York, and now to see his success and him taking flight on Magnum PI, and
Right.
now this is just,
That's
I'm really
amazing.
proud of him.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. But again, it's a small circle. It's a big industry per se, but it's a small circle,
Yeah,
and that's why you gotta be nice to everybody. You gotta be gracious. You have to make sure, because you don't know who you're gonna be, who you don't know who's gonna end up hiring you, or you don't know who you're gonna end up working for. You
that's true.
know, I do laugh a lot because at times, you know, I'm one of these people. I'm in the business, but I'm not in the business. So a lot of people feel comfortable talking to me about stuff that maybe they don't tell the stuff in the business. You know, and I get a lot of like, look at this one, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, wow, that person was really mean to you, that you feel that way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah, I have the advantage where I'm like in and out of the industry really, because I don't at this point in time, like, I don't really audition or anything like that. Because I'm more on the creative side. I rather, and people approach me with things like, hey, I
And
have this
here's the
for you.
crazy part about this, and this is I gotta say this.
Yeah,
For a lot of the members of Room 28 to not be represented, like in the traditional sense of the word that
right,
most people are, because regular actor talk is like, well, who are you with, right?
right, right,
You got your agent. Who you working with right now?
right,
Okay, what have you booked? How many
right,
co-stars have you booked this year?
right,
Are you still
right,
in the pro-star bubble? Why don't
right,
you get the guest stars? What about the
right.
guest stars? Da, da, da. So it's this whole thing. But I guarantee you will see more footage, more content on YouTube, on social media platforms of of Jerry, Rachel, Jamie, and Mike than you will with people who are represented by Buckwald and the. I swear to God, because you guys put them out like a machine, and sometimes it's just, you're an easy find because of the work that you
Appreciate
put
that.
in.
I appreciate that. I
You
appreciate that.
know,
And
bro,
then so then
it's
that's when
no,
I
it's
appreciate
the
that.
truth.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. And you know what's crazy is, like, sorry, we got on this competition show. I don't know. I'm sorry. We got on this competition show for Bring the Funny, where we got to go to LA and compete. And everyone there, is pretty much from like these comedy institutions, like UCB, Groundhogs,
Yeah.
Groundlings, Second City, whatever. And sorry for the phone thing. I'm just putting it in charge. All right. All those things, and then for us, they were like, "Yo, so where you guys from?" And we're like, "New York." Like, room 28. That's our, and they didn't know where to put us, and for us to be out there, and even though we were eliminated or whatever, that was a win. And
Yeah.
for me, that was one of the greatest things because now I could look at my kid and I could be like, "Hey, look, you can do whatever you want. I, I accomplished the dream. You can accomplish any dream you want." And for me, that's the biggest gift that I could give to my kid. You know.
And I think you found the balance because I always tell people, in order to survive this industry, you got to have work life balance. You can't allow it to completely consume your life because it can get very dark.
This business sucks. It's great. It's beautiful when it's great, and it has this. And even the bad parts is great, yes, but it can destroy a person. It can destroy your ego. It can destroy your self worth. If after if certain things happen in order, it's very easy for that to happen to you, and for you to give up on the industry. There's millions and billions of brilliant actors that we've worked with that are no longer in the business because they're like, "Yo, I don't want to deal with none of that stuff." So
Yeah.
those that persevere and all that stuff, like that's a whole thing within itself. Yeah.
So let me ask you a question. Would you ever let your daughter in the business if she wanted to get in?
So that's funny you say that because she totally wants to be in the business. She totally. So I purposefully didn't include her into any of the things unless she wanted to be in it or I really needed like a little girl or something in the part. But for the most part, I try to keep her away from it because I didn't want it to be an influence on her. But she's my twin and she saw it. And when we were filming our web series, which she's a part of, thank God, she got to be on. She was on set for like 14 hours one day with me, just just cranking out stuff. And she was like so like, "Yo, where's my marks?" Like she thought of all, like she kept all this information in. So I say, okay, this is something that she really wants to do, and she's naturally gifted at it. So we're putting her in some stuff now, moving forward, so she could get properly trained. But she's in that. I mean, she's my kid, and then she sees the stuff that I do, and she emulates, and and that's what it's all about. Like I want my kids to dream big. Like I want them to be little Kanye's. You could do whatever you want. Let the world later on, let your whatever decisions you make, but I want you to believe you can do whatever the hell you want. Just believe that because we set our own limits.
Do you feel like you will always? Well, let me rephrase this question. Um, you being in one foot in the business and one foot out. Do you feel like that's a way of keeping your sanity?
Absolutely. And it's also a safe way to protect my ego when I was younger. Meaning like I I don't audition for things, so I didn't feel bad if I haven't gone as further as other people in the business. And I also saw a lot of my friends who are fully entrenched and the rejections and the auditions and stuff like that and how that would sometimes affect them. And I'm also like I can't the fake stuff in the industry is so much, and I'm so much about the work that I rather some of those other stuff sometimes that you have to do to make it. I'm like, you know what, it's cool, it's fine. I'm not. If there's an audition that came my way and I really wanted it, and I was gonna put myself through that process, okay. If I get rejected, it's okay. I'm gonna be. But then there are other projects where, my God, man, this is my role. This is me. It's so perfect. It's tailored to me. I'm living and breathing it, and you don't get it, or and then it's like it's such a crappy feeling. But I think it is a huge part of why I'm still, and I'm blessed, man. I'm blessed. Like I had this conversation with Andrew in my group. I'm like, we out here I'm like, I've never fully committed to this as far as like the auditions and stuff, because I'm committed to the art and I'm committed to write. Like I have different avenues into the art, but the acting part, I'm like, I'm not fully committed to the acting thing. But you know and the fact that I'm doing these things and I've gotten to do these amazing projects and I've gotten to work with these amazing people, just called upon based on like, oh hey, they saw me doing something and they like that work. I didn't even have to, like, that's, to me, that's better than a paycheck. That's better than. I'm like, okay, my work is speaking for itself at this point, you know.
Is there anything separate from Room 28 that Jerry wants to do and accomplish?
Yeah, I mean, which is funny because then once you discover that you have this gift, right? You have this gift, this God-given gift to make people have a good time, forget about their problems, laugh, enjoy life a little bit. Then you have to think about what is the bigger purpose for that, you know? And for me, I've been purposely, I mean, I still do the fun and silly projects and stuff like that, but I've been getting more into some more serious acting things and stuff, things that have a little bit more purpose and have a little bit more of a message behind it. I I know because and I had this conversation. It's like I know I didn't see anybody that looked like me when I was on TV doing certain things. So for me to be doing it is whatever people find it. But if people actually see somebody doing that stuff, it changes the whole game. Like Obama being president, like I could never, that never entered to my head. That would never, in my mind as a kid, it's not that, it's just a thought that doesn't cross your mind because you're a black kid. You're not supposed to think about that. Now, that's something that could, Michael B. Jordan want to be Superman. I've had that conversation a million times. I'm like, yo, as a kid, you don't think about being Superman because
Right.
Superman's white. I'm not white. Like now I got to think of my own superhero kind of thing. So for me, it's more about that. It's more about setting the examples and having a little bit of a purpose. So I want everything to have a little bit of a message when I am doing these projects. So, which
So
is, I've done the bodega,
let
like
me,
I got involved with
I
bodega
gotta ask you
makeover.
a question
Go
based
ahead, go ahead.
on what you just said. Okay, so I know that, and I compared you to Tim Conway, by the way. For those who
By the
don't know,
way, first of all, thank you. Holy shit, that's pressure.
and
I
for people who
appreciate that.
don't know who he is, if you know of the Carol Burnett show, Tim Conway is probably one of my favorite comedians, and
He
a
was
lot
the
of
funniest guy on that show. Yeah.
I lean on him and what he does. But as a actor, a comedic actor of color, do you ever find the pressure as whereas you don't have the privilege to do the things that white comedic actors do because you feel like you carry the pressure of the culture with you?
Um.
Am I being too far? Will I be judged for this?
Sure.
Because we play that line. We kind of straddle that fence of, what we believe is funny. Like if we would sit back and we think, okay, we have this scene. What would Jerry Lewis do? What would John Ritter do? What
Right.
would you know um, you know um, anybody that we grew up watching on television? What would they do? But because we're in this skin, it reads differently. So
Sure.
do you ever worry about representation when
All
it
the
comes
time.
to what it is that you do in comedy?
Sure. All the time. For me though, most importantly, like first and foremost, is it funny? Because a lot of people want to say messages, but
Mm.
then it's not a comedy sketch. You're just putting out a thing, right? Make sure it's funny. If we're talking about comedy, number one thing you got to do is make sure it's funny. That's number one to me. Number two, intent. What's your intent? Even if you're saying a comedy joke that may be that people will interpret wrong, or it could be interpreted wrong, in your delivery and in your intent, I think is understood. I think there's a lot that goes into that. People will always misread things, but if you stick to your intent and you with conviction, I think you're okay. You're going to be pretty good, right? Because at the end of the day, it's all about subject. People are always not going to find things funny, especially if they relate to it, whatever. Um, I think as I've gotten older, yes, I've gotten way more conscious of not only like, because, I got a kid now. I'm like, is this something that I'm okay my kid seeing 20 years now? Even though if I'm going for the joke, it's different. I'm pretty reckless and fearless and I'll do much. But there are things now that you're like, is it worth that moment or that joke, or is it that funny? And if I do this, is it going to further perpetuate stereotypes, or is this highlighting a stereotype?
Right.
Um, so there are I have to say, this is why I started my own thing, because, when I was going to these other places, these institutions where you're doing sketch comedy. Um, One, they're like, okay, so you're the drug dealer guy. So you're the drug, because this is the funny
Right.
part. Okay, all right, okay, or okay, this is the part and you're like, okay, but I'm just being used in this capacity. There's so much other thing. Or number one, they put you in a sketch so they can say all their racist shit that they want to say, and now you becoming a vessel for them and making it okay. So
Yeah.
there's a fine line of that. So that's when I decided, okay, if we're gonna do our own thing, we're gonna do our own thing. And yeah, I mean, there are times where we teetered that line, but I think because of our intention of where we were, it never felt like it crossed over. Like there's no issues with, you know. But of course, and I also feel like even when we were doing the NBC stuff, you know, they stopped us from doing a lot of things because they were offended, which really pissed me off. Because it was like, yo, but I can say that. Like it was like, this is my people. I can make
Like,
that
no.
joke. You can't make that joke. I
Right,
can make the
right,
joke,
right,
but you
right,
can't
right,
make that joke.
right, right.
So there's a lot of that. There is a lot of that as far as like the networks and stuff. So, but yeah, I do. It is at the end of the day, it is something that I do now consciously, only because my purpose is bigger, and I don't want something to knock what I believe, what I want my purpose to be, and my purpose is to the advancement of people that look like us, man.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it. Behind the camera, in front of the camera, just and I don't care. The thing is that people get caught up in like, oh, Latinos are only making this percentage of the audience or actors and all this stuff. And for me, it's just like, just make good stuff. People aren't going to support your shit just because it's a Latino thing. Just
Yeah.
make something good. If you make it good,
I agree.
everybody's going to watch it. You don't need
I
to
agree.
label it. You don't need to do nothing behind it. It's going to be good. You know, they could be about an Asian family. Guess what? Every family has a father and a mother and an aunt
Right.
that's like this. That's always going to be relatable regardless of the cultures. And I think people get so caught up in like the identities. It's like, yo, why don't you just make some quality stuff first? For us to get to like, as far as like, yo, I love that new show Abbott Elementary, and you got the Wine Crew one that they have on NBC.
Mm-hmm.
But before you get there, you have to have your insecures. You have to have your Atlantas. You have to have these other shows that are opening doors
Yeah.
before you can get to these points. But
Yeah.
again, if you mention all these shows, none of these shows are saying we're black shows.
Right.
It's about us. We're black. So
Right.
you're going to get black shit. And it's the same thing that I felt like when we were doing Room 28. Hey, we're Latinos. You're going to get Latino stuff.
Yeah.
So even if I wanted to or not, you're going to get it. But I'm not throwing that in your face. It's not a part of the story I'm trying to tell.
Right. Exactly. I agree with that 100% because it can get a little crazy with that.
It's
It's
okay.
like we're missing the point.
Yes.
Oh, you know what I mean? And
It's
it does a
art.
disservice to us because, you know, you put us in a box. And
Listen, art, at the end of the day, it's art. Like,
yeah,
there is a certain content that you're bringing forward. It's not about just the package. It's
yeah.
about, you got to have, like, it's still got to be good. I don't care how many Latinos you got in it. I don't care how many Afro Latinos you got in it. They got to be good.
All right, Jerry. Now it's time for me to ask you my 5 questions
Let's go.
of the day. So if you watch my show, you kind of know what my 5 questions are going to be.
All right.
But okay, so tell me, what do you know about the business now as opposed to what you thought it was coming in?
Oof. It's great. I love these questions. What I do know about one, it's about you. You do have more control than what you think you do, as far as what your path can be. I think sometimes when you come into this business, you feel like it's dictated by so many other things,
Mm-hmm.
agents, but there are things that you can do to, gain control of that. And it's the business is it's a business. It's a business. So feelings and personal things, there's no room for that. Even though it's a very personal job, there's really no room for that. Uh, at all. So it's more of a business than you really think. And there's a lot of luck involved. A lot of luck involved, who you know.
Truly, truly.
Truly. truly.
What advice would you give your 19-year-old self?
Oh man, uh, I'm gonna steal this from. There's a script that there's a like a little clip going around of De Niro saying this, and Denzel said something similar, and it's everything passes. Uh, you can be hot, you can be cold, but just remain the same. Keep an even keel, because this too shall pass. Bad times, this will pass. Bad luck, this will pass. It's just about taking lessons, pay attention to what happened in that mistake or in that lesson. Just pay attention. But just trust the process. Like everything shall pass. Even what you think is good and what you think is bad, everything's gonna pass. Everything. Everything. You just try to keep an even keel throughout. Don't get too excited and don't get too depressed. It's okay to be happy, but yeah.
What do you want your legacy to be?
I I want to. I don't. It's hard to sit here and say I want to be the funniest MFer ever. That's not realistic, right? So to me, I just want to be someone that was one that put out great work, that put out quality stuff that meant something, and the people enjoyed working with me. That because I love, like I really, I don't know, whatever, maybe my precedence because of how I'm secluded or whatever. I'm not all working in the industry all the time. People sometimes get to think like maybe I'm not as approachable or whatever. I totally love working with other people. I totally love being part of a team. I totally love creating. Um, so I would love, like, I want my work to speak for itself. Like, whatever happened, like, you put this on, you're gonna see whatever it is that I'm trying to, whatever art or whatever message or whatever love that I was trying to put out there, through the different avenues that I put out my work. So for me, it's about that. For me, yeah, I want my work to continue to live on, like forever. That's where you become immortal. But I just wanted to be known as someone that was great to it. Like it was an experience. Every time, every project that I've had, I wanted to be an experience with everybody else, me and everybody else.
What brings you joy?
What brings me joy? Well, my daughter now, number 100%. Family brings me joy, and peace, inner peace. Uh,
Amen.
knowing yourself, growing up, like putting in the work to know who you are, your flaws, working on them. And not all flaws can be worked on, but just being aware of yourself. And I think to be within the moment, to live within the moment, to be present, to enjoy whatever is in front of me at the moment, that brings me joy. Because we could carry so much baggage of stuff that happened to you an hour ago, or be worried about something that's going to happen to you in a couple of years. There's so much that is out of our hands that affects us in our everyday moment. Just being present in the moment and being free and being in love with yourself in a way, like, hey, I'm accepting who I am. I'm accepting who this person is. And that's hard, because then that's where people have the problem. You don't want to accept who you really are.
Yeah.
And hey man, accept who you are. And once you go there, you have, you know, there's nobody that can rock your peace after that, because you know who you are. And you don't fool yourself. Just be honest with yourself.
What are you grateful for?
Man, like everything. Like I wish I could have a specific answer, but I'm so grateful to have the ability to have done what I do, first of all, to be graced with the talents to be able to do what I do, and to know the people that I know, yourself included, to be around and just like bro, we've known each other for a long time.
Like
And the
before
fact
my
that we're sitting, yeah, man, listen, MySpace shit. We talking MySpace shit. You might have been in my top 10 at one point. But that's what I'm saying. But to be able to like, right here we are, right? We're talking years later, still enjoying the fruits of what our passions are and what of our decision, you know. Um, so yeah. What was the question again? Sorry.
What are you grateful for?
What am I grateful for? I mean, everything. I think I answered it. Yeah, but I'm grateful. I'm grateful that I'm conscious about it. That I can see it. I'm grateful that my eyes are open to seeing all these things that are, that I have been blessed with. Um, so I'm so grateful for my talents. I'm grateful for my parents. I'm grateful for just for being in the moment, like being able to be alive and live through this time, regardless of what's going on, is a blessing. Yeah.
So tell me about this podcast you got going on. Because I think
The
people,
Men on Pause podcast.
the Men on Pause podcast.
It's exactly what it sounds like. It's two guys that were mentally paused in the 1990s, and it's me and my best friend from high school. We're literally just looking at things through the lens of people from that, from our generation. There's a lot of changes. There's a lot of, traditional things that have been broken. There's a lot of societal things that have been broken from when we were, societal norms. And we try to do it through humor because I think people are so caught up in debating and being right that there's so much funny shit being said that it's like, bro, like it's life. Life should be, at the end of the day, does it really matter? It doesn't really matter. So, you're healthy, everybody's healthy. It doesn't matter what other people are doing in their houses or whatever,
Yeah.
whatever. It's
Yeah.
and then we joke about that. We joke about, when we were kids, this is what happened, and it's not only just about that, our show, but it really is just us talking about topics that affect men in a different way, where, it's, and the thing is like, yeah, we're men on pause and there's a joke on and puns on the word and all of that, but we really are like,
That's the truth.
right, modern. You have to pause. We have to pause ourselves and think and see what's going on and then moving forward, So yeah, that's a lot of fun. It's,
Where can
we're
we find
going
it?
season 3. What happened?
Where can we find it?
Anywhere you listen to your podcast, Google, Apple, all of that shit. Men on Pause. Please subscribe. Please follow. It's a short episode. It's only about half an hour for your car ride home. Just, a train ride home. Just listen to us. Just be stupid and silly. We just try to pack in as many jokes as possible while talking about life through the male perspective. But we're also like, you know, we're not these old school, like the majority of our audience is women, because first of all, they come on and be like, "What's this Men on Pause?" People trying to now they trying to
That's
claim
truly the
this,
case.
right?
Yeah.
And then they stay, and then they realize, yo, nah, we're really about having a good time and really like modernizing men a little bit. So that's that, and it's a blessing. Shout out to my boy P, and shout out to Latino Pods. We just signed to a network. So
Congratulations.
it's good stuff there, great stuff there.
Congratulations, brother.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so
Thank you.
much. Thank you so much, Jerry, for coming on.
Oh, wait. I don't want to, but before, I don't want, because Rick is going to kill me. I also want to shout out Dad
Oh,
Repeat.
Rick, I'm so sorry.
No, it's cool because we talked about it, but
No,
no, yeah, Dad Repeat. Uh, please go. So we're getting ready to do season
and
2.
can you just run down the festivals that you guys already been selected to?
Oh my, there's like, so I'm telling you right now, it's probably like a good 20 something festivals that we've been accepted to. It's my first foray into drama acting. uh Scary as shit. I didn't know, when you do comedy you get that visceral reaction. When you do drama, it's not like that,
Right.
and but I feel good about it. I feel it's something that I was sincere about, and I'm putting, and it's about fatherhood, not just, not just being a parent, but also dealing with your fathers, dealing with your
Yeah.
parenthood and how that affects you as a parent. So, and done through the lens of
I caught a
comedy and
few
stuff.
episodes of it, man. I was really impressed
Thank you.
with what you guys are doing, and the fact that what you said about your daughter. I had to link that into the promo because
Oh, right.
I thought it was dope, especially when you said it's the greatest job I ever booked.
Absolutely. And you know, we sit down and write the scripts, and that was something that really just we started talking about it. And I was like, yo, and he's like, you know, when you get gigs, I was like, listen, it's the greatest part I've ever gotten,
Right.
and I wear that with honor. So, but yeah, please check out Dad Repeat. Again, that's everywhere. That's on YouTube, IG. Just look for us, Dad Repeat. It's. I know it looks like Dad Ruffy, but it's switch the P and the H. It's Dad Repeat, and that's just go if if you got daddy issues, get ready to cry. But it's a beautiful thing because we're breaking a lot of stigmas and stuff, especially about Afro Latino dads and or minority dads in general, and what the perception is of what we're supposed to be like, So
I think I'm really interested in starting up writing teams again. Because I've during the pandemic, I've been doing a lot of writing, and I remember a time when we used to get together and read scripts, and I think I got a script of myself. I think Bobby De Jesus is part of it.
oh my God, Bobby, yeah,
Yeah, Bobby, who's my dude,
shout out to Bobby, yeah, shout
man.
out to Bobby.
Bobby, man. I told him, I said, "Yo, it ain't over till it's over, brother. We gotta keep pushing." So,
That's it. That's it.
yo,
There's a bunch of us, eventually I would love to do that. Like I think we all need to get together. There's some of us that we've known each other for so long that we kind of forget, and we've been supporting each other from the sidelines for so long. We don't always get to see each other, and we move to different places and stuff, and everybody's in different parts of their life. But they say this business, everybody, people. For all the people that I know in this business, yeah, you're gonna get one out of 10. You're gonna get one that's competitive, but for the most part, most of the people that I've come across and I've worked with have been some of the most collaborative,
yeah, man,
friendly, at least within our circles, like it's a
right.
beautiful community. It's beautiful.
And I got some stuff, man. I want to share too. So it's like, if you say, look, I'm looking for a dramatic role, and I'm like, oh, you want drama? You want drama? Don't worry
Let's
about it.
go. Let's go.
Let's continue to develop. I think because that's the stuff for me that truly feeds the soul is the community, the collaboration,
Yeah,
and the creative process. Even things are always changing and developing, and I hope and pray that we can get back to that too.
absolutely. And this stuff, again, we have a lot more control now. We can write our own stories. We don't need networks to provide us with cameras. We don't need networks to provide us with
Oh
studios. We don't need permission to do what we need to do.
yeah,
And again, like Dad Rippy came out of talking to a guy like, yo, mental check-ins during COVID, and next thing you know, we're writing this thing, and you're like, oh shit, you know what? Let's put this together. So you don't know sometimes how but it's just creating, just create, just write, just do it, just do it, just do it. It's the best
absolutely.
advice you can do it. Yeah,
Thanks again, brother.
Phil,
I
thank you so
appreciate
much. I'm
this time.
humbled, man. Thank you for having me on, brother. It's so great to
No,
see you.
no,
By the way, you look
no.
great.
I thank you. I appreciate it, brother. So do you. You don't age at all, sir.
No, say likewise, bro. We vampires here. You know what I'm saying?
All right,
Uh,
Jerry. Jerry Diaz, everybody. Jerry, do you got a
thank you,
website?
brother. Huh?
You got a website?
No, just look for me. I'm telling you, I don't even have representation. I'm really, yeah. Just look for me on IG, El Modifoca. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that shit. Yeah. El Modifoca. There it is.
All right, brother. Have a good one.
My
Peace and
brother, thank
blessings
you
to you.
again.
Thank you
Yes.
guys for joining us tonight. We will see you
Always.
next Saturday. Peace.
Peace.